We're at 105 now. We're pushing higher and higher. How much higher do we go?
I think we continue to go higher till you actually start to get some demand destroyed, because first and foremost, one of the reactions you're seeing from the SPR, we've seen this in the past as well, SPRs don't really work when there is such a massive supply disruption. It's peanuts compared to what you're talking about is actual supply disruption. And there are constraints around that. 60 million barrels, of which 30 is going to come from the US. US already released a bunch of SPR. If you remember, they announced in November. They're releasing it now. And infrastructure is quite constrained. So they're going to struggle to release much more. So that's one thing. But second thing, right now we calculate about 70% of Russian exports is not getting touched by anybody. And that's a much, much bigger number. Russia exports about 5.5 million barrels per day of crude exports. 70% of that currently not reaching buyers because of fears of sanction. Even though energy is not under sanction, the lack of clarity around banking sanctions has just meant that people aren't necessarily buying these cargoes.
Okay.
So 60 million barrels there, not going to do much of a difference.
Okay, so the SPR reserve release doesn't really mean anything, Amrita. What if we were to see OPEC take more action this week? Do you expect that?
No, we're not expecting that. And this is a really tricky situation for OPEC Plus, given Russia is a member country. But also, if you look through their balances, and again, it gets really murky very quickly, because energy isn't under sanctions, technically, Russian supply and demand continues as is, quote unquote, and therefore there is no change to the balances. However, of course, we know due to logistical problems, due to banking problems, it's the trade flows that is really constricted. Now, we do expect once more clarity around these banks that are going to be exempt from SWIFT emerge. We expect China and India to buy more crude. So I think the trade flows will fix itself. So OPEC Plus see this as a temporary geopolitical risk premium in prices. Also remember the potential of Iran coming back. So they do want to stick to the deal right now.